We have heard from the keynote speaker, we haven't learned to use the axe. That's very nice. And up to now, I had the impression that losing knowledge, losing experience, losing skills is a European problem. Unfortunately, it is. It's a worldwide problem. And so last year we started to discuss, meaning me and the Wood Culture Society, on setting up a new way of documentation. Because you know, the Wood Culture Society is doing very nice films, as you can see all over here. And we discussed a new project, a new way of filming. It's really a completely new way, and that's what I'm going to present. And so I've got the possibility, together with funding of the society, to start a small project on a documentary film. And we have chosen shingle making, 2 different types of shingles, which you can find in Austria. Doing something like this, it's necessary to have really a very, very close cooperation between science, in this case it's wood science, the filming team, the videographer, and the people, the handicrafts doing this. And that's really the challenge. That's really the challenge on this whole process. And so the goal of this documentary film is if some of you, for example, a handicraft from here, from this region, who is skilled using tools to produce some wooden goods, are able to produce the shingles. So you need at least a little bit of skills, and then you can see really all details. You get all information which is necessary to reproduce these products. That's the main idea. So that's really a safeguarding of knowledge, showing skills more or less. In our case, it's the shingle production and the mounting. So all necessary information has to be included. We have not finished now this film. So it's a documentation of the process, of the manufacturing, not of the people doing this. And that's the big difference to ethnographic films, because in an ethnographic film you can see mainly the man, woman doing the work and seeing a little bit of doing the work. Here we will just focus on the work itself, on the process itself. That's not going through on this. It's just I just put some of the words, not all of them, in our case, which is necessary. Selection of wood species, time of felling, and so on, and so on, and so on. So there are a lot of different steps. We were really amazed when we started this filming on how much information is included in such easy product at the end. It's really an easy product. What we started after long discussions is not using this usual way of filming. So we used, maybe you can see there's the one man with the red jacket and the big hammer, and you can see, no, you won't see, but anyway, he's wearing a head camera. So that's the usual action cam which you know. And this was really a very nice tool which we introduced here. Of course, filming people will hate it, and you will see some sequences, because it's a very movable scenery. So that's what we used. And I want to show you one example. You can see here that's one of the most important men in this shingle production. He's the technical director of the museum where we did the filming. Here you can see the cleaning of the piece of wood from the bark, so debarking more or less, at the so-called Honselbank using a knife, Reifmesser in German. So it's a photo, but it would be the same looking with a camera. And what we did is, what I've told you, using this head camera. And now you can see really the angle of the tool, the angle of the knife, how it's used. So you can see really detailed. You can see what the handicraft is seeing. And I think that's a very, very important part. So we've put some scenes together on this. So this was done by us, not by the videographer. So you can see mainly that, by the way, that's the shingle roofing, which is 40 years old, so it has to be renewed. So it starts with selection of a tree. It's enormous knowledge on how to select, not the cutting, of course, that's very easy. So you can see it, that's Norway spruce, by the way. So it's a special type of shingle, so you can use also novice bows, which is not doable. Here's the first time splitting. You can see the action camera in action. So it's really possible to see all details of the tools. But you can see that's a very movable. You get some illness if you look long. And that's the usual way of filming. It's also fine, but I think the combination of both types makes it really valuable. So you can see what you have seen on the picture before. So you can see that it's debugging, and now you can see really how to handle this knife tool. Yeah, you see it's a really unstable picture, but that's what he's looking for. But that's a very easy process, what you can see here now. That's one of the most tricky part is the splitting. It's a splitting process, and how to maintain that it splits in the right direction. That's the main problem, the main tricky part. And here's a lot of knowledge. We have filmed this scene I think 10 times to make it possible to do some clarification on how it works. It looks very, very easy because he's very skilled. But if you don't know how to do it, then you will lose this shingle because the split goes out of the plane, moves out of the plane. So that's really here bending. That's the important part, the bending of the lower part to maintain the right splitting plane. That's also the action cam, the head camera. No? Yeah, that is just to show. We try to include also some interviews because we have to have a lot of information which has to be transferred, and the question is how. So we will at least. A part of the information will be transferred using the interview, which makes it much more complicated for an English version or another language. But here he is clarifying this very special type of the Norway shingles, which is bent together, tied together. Here you can see. I don't want to go too much in details, but it was the upper part and the lower part now. You can see here really the difference. And they were looking at the mounting, they're looking for the right part, meaning the upper part has to be the lower part to turn it around. So there are a lot of different, very, very small informations which has to be included in this. Yeah, that's just to show the mounting, but we will see a little bit of the mounting too. So we jump between these two shingle types, but it's not a big difference. Here you can see the mounting on the roof. It's a new building what they set up in the museum. Here a lot of information is within. You can see once again the head camera. So you can see really in detail what's going on. You can see, for example, here you're not. So the nail doesn't have to really be fixed, so it sticks 1 millimeter out, so the shingle can move. That's very important. Otherwise, it will crack. But you can see here you need a lot of iron nails, which was impossible in former times because it's very, very expensive in former times. Nowadays, it's no problem. So this kind of roofing, it's very old, but it was specialized to, for example, churches and so on. I want to skip this, and I want to thanks for your attention. And maybe we can get in touch a little bit on discussion on what you think. Is this a good way of documenting handicrafts or not? So that's the main idea of presenting the first steps we have done together with the society So thank you very much.